heard there was a little example of polyrhythmic music. Just a short example. Polyrhythmic music is music where there are multiple parts or melodic lines moving at different speeds relative to each other. So it all sounds very complicated, but let's break it down and make it very simple. To start off with, we've got one part moving at 2 beats in a bar, the speed of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. What could be simpler? 2, 1. And over the top of that, I'm going to have another part moving in 3 beats in a bar. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now over the top of that, we're going to have another part moving in 5 beats in a bar, the speed of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right. Okay, now in the right hand, I'm going to have a part moving in 7 beats per bar. Okay, so now we're going to bring the 5 in, and then the 7 over the top. So 2 over 3, over 5, over 7. Okay. So here's the 5. And the 7. Okay, thank you. So this is polyrhythm. So let's look at now polyphasing, a slightly different idea. If my speed of 5, for example, has got 4 notes in its phrase, 1, 2, 3, 4, and by playing at the speed of 5, the 1 will phase round and land on a different note each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we say the 5 is phasing in 4. Similarly, I could have my 3, the old 3 over the 2 down here, phasing in 4. So there's 4 notes in the phrase, it's moving at the speed of 3, 4 notes in the phrase. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Okay, now, over the top of this 3, phasing in 4, I'm going to bring in a 5, phasing in 3. Sounds like this. Okay. And now, a 7, phasing in 5. So it's at the speed of 7, but there's 5 notes in the phase. So. And now we'll try them all together. So that's just a straight 2 with a 3 phasing in 4 and a 5 phasing in 3 and a 7 phasing in 5. Something like this. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look at another example, just to make this point clear. Another example. So we've got, in the left hand, I'm moving at the speed of 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But as you might notice, there are 5 notes there. So the 3 is phasing in 5. Okay, in the top, I'm going to bring in a 7, phasing in 4. Sounds like this. And then in the middle, I'm going to bring a 5 in. Okay. Just keep the examples short, keep your attention. So does it have to be so complicated, you might ask? Does it have to be so complicated? No, it doesn't. Let's take a really simple riff here, a little simple idea. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, well, that's simple, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. And same thing left hand, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I play those together, without any polyrhythm, without any phasing, it just sounds like this. And you may or may not want to listen to that. But if I play the right hand at a speed of 5, relative to the left hand being a speed of 3, the very same thing sounds a lot more interesting. Thank you. So how far can it be taken? How far can you take this concept? There's no theoretical limit to it, but the furthest I've been able to take it is 25 over 15 over 12 over 16 over 20. Now, some people might be thinking, that sounds impossibly difficult. There must be a trick. And there is sort of a trick, so I'm going to try and explain that to you now. In the right hand, I'm going to start with a 5, going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we're putting it in just simple scales, so it's easy to hear. Against a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, over a 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that sounds like this. In the left hand, we're going to take a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over a 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, which sounds like this. Okay, now the trick is that the 5, remember this 5 at the top in the left hand, that's a 5 relative to the 4 and the 3 in the left hand, is going to be a 4 relative to the 5 and the 3 in the left hand. Okay. Maybe it'd be better if I just played it. So this is 25 over 15 over 12 over 16 over 20. That's even harder to play than it is to say. Okay, so interestingly, there's a parallel between polyrhythm and pitch harmony. Because for every polyrhythm, there is an equivalent chord, where the frequencies of the notes in the chord are the same number ratios as the beats in the polyrhythm. Okay, so for example, 3/2, which is what we started with, that's what the waves look like in a chord that sounds like this. This is a chord where the wave at the bottom, 2/3, that's what 2/3 sounds like as a chord. And then 5/3, that's the chord there. 2/3. And then 5/3, a musical sixth, sounds like this. There we go. And 7/4, a seventh, sounds like that. And 8/15, and so on, with the higher numbers creating higher dissonances. 15/8, a major seventh. Okay. So the higher numbers creating higher dissonances. Now, from a certain point of view, polyrhythm and pitch harmony are the same thing, but at different speeds. So the ear draws the line at 20 hertz, which means that we can hear 20 pulses per second. Anything faster than 20 pulses per second, it kind of blurs together into a pitch. If you could imagine hearing something getting faster and faster, so it's a pitch. So above 20 hertz, we hear pitch harmony, and when we hear the numerical relations, we hear them as chords, like that's 2, 3, 5, for example. But below 20 hertz, we hear them as pulses, and therefore polyrhythm. And so my work is focusing on the ratios below 20 hertz, pulse ratios, time ratios, an additional dimension of oral perception containing within it the established paradigm of pitch harmony, because you can make polyrhythms with notes, obviously. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I can't make head nor tail of this. It all sounds like a mess. Well, in general perception, the overall cacophony of potential stimuli in our immediate environment is partially processed by the relevant sense. Of that, a small amount of that will be processed by the brain and interpreted into a perception. And of the aspects of our environment that we process with our senses, a tiny amount of that will be the focus of our attention. Now, we can certainly expand our attentive capacity through train our attentive capacity, and in doing so, expand our sphere of consciousness. It's been my experience from engaging with polyrhythmic music that as one becomes more familiar with polyrhythmy, there are certain moments where all of a sudden your attention can expand to encompass multiple time worlds simultaneously. So there is a precedent for this evolution of hearing. People in the Stone Age, for example, not Stone Age, the Middle Ages, the harmony they could hear would be limited to like fifths, things like this. Okay, something like this, or rich chromatic harmony, would sound like a mess to them, kind of sound like this, because their ears hadn't heard that. So we started off being able to hear a fifth, which is 3/2. And as time went on, we could hear this as harmonious, and then this, and then this, and so on. So that's through the higher numbers. And I would suspect that the ear will evolve culturally the same way to be able to appreciate more and more complex polyrhythm as it has evolved to appreciate higher and higher numbers in pitch harmony. Okay, so I would invite you once more to listen through the forest of melodic lines to the underlying texture and feel and shape of the polyrhythm.